gentlemen, the Vin Cigar Show. And here's your host, Sir Vin.
Hello and welcome once again to the Vin Cigar Show. Tonight we're having episode 6, and I'll differentiate each of the parts. This is part 1. We're going to have 4 parts, so if you're following on YouTube, you'll know that you can continue on. What I'd like to do, as we do each week, is to introduce our panel. This is Avery Gardner. And we have John Capral right over here, and myself, the host, Vinny, which is Sir Vin. Why don't we have Avery talk a little bit about himself?
Well, at this time, I have to be serious, and I have to bring up a serious subject. I don't want to bum anyone out. I have to bring up a serious subject, and I have to offer an apology. Last week, our guest was a former Army captain. A Major. And they told me we're having a female guest, which is fine with me. Hey, you know.
You're a tough guy.
BTA!
Big tough guy.
This is serious, gentlemen. And you got a female guest and a female captain or major. I said, hell, bring Rosie the Riveter on. What do I care? She steps on, and this is one of the most... All right, let's see if I can explain this and then offer my apology. She didn't look like Rosie the Riveter. This woman had long red hair and other things. Very attractive in my opinion, and I must be...
You're scaring me!
They're not going to watch this episode.
You're
They're going to go back to the
me.
old episode now.
Yeah, you lost them.
Well, if you heard me stumbling, once I took a look at the woman and she was staring back at me, I did a little for you old timers, a little of the Ralph Cramden humna humna humna. Humna humna humna. I was off. I couldn't get my act together, and she was staring at me, waiting for me to say something, either funny or not funny. And I have to offer an apology. I was overwhelmed. We went back.
It happens.
I left here. We spoke. We finished filming. Chatted with her a bit more, and I think I recovered. I got my act together. I think I showed her what a cool guy I am. Left here at 10. Got back to my home at 10:30 in suburban Owego, and there was something pasted to my door. It was an order of protection.
She knew you were watching.
Now, we have a photographer with us today. It had a big picture of me on the order, a picture of her with a red line through it, and it was, I am not allowed within 1,200 feet of her. And as a matter of fact, what I didn't understand is how did she have the order of protection served within a half hour of me getting out of here?
Must be your reputation with the children.
The big tough guy. It goes back to the child thing.
It was signed by Governor Patterson and one of our previous guests, town supervisor of my town, Don Castellucci, who I thought was a friend.
From episode 2.
The building was locked. I don't know how they got in, but I do want to apologize, and now I am under an order of protection.
You'll be all right.
Otherwise, I am a lifetime member, and here I go.
There it is.
That was an unbelievable introduction. John, what do you got to say? What do you just got out of jail or what?
I'm John. Go ahead. No, we went away for a week down in Cancun. Beautiful to get out of Binghamton in the middle of January, end of January. Had a wonderful time, 80 degrees every day. Had a couple cigars down there. Had a Vin Royale on the beach.
There we go.
On the beach of Cancun. I had a guy say, "Boy, that smells good." I said, Vin Cigars, $8. You can't beat it. One of the still my favorite $8.
Then he tried to sell you some ganja.
I said, no, the Vins are better.
That's where I got the fake Cubans from.
All right. That's where you got them. So, yeah, looking forward to another episode. I think we got a couple of very good cigars here tonight. I actually was privy to what these were because I supplied them. So I like these 2 cigars and looking forward to a good show.
Great. You never know what you're going to catch on the Vin Cigar Show, let me tell you that. I mean, I had no idea that I've got what's his name, Al Bundy, whatever the heck his name is over here on our panel, but that's all right. Don't worry about it. Most of it was just a good story to tell us. What I'd like to talk about during this first episode, or the first part 1, is a little bit about what's going on now in the cigar world. I spent this past week, Monday and Tuesday, Tuesday and Wednesday, whatever it was, down in Manhattan at the Grand Havana Room. And what we were doing is the CRA, Cigar Rights of America, and the New York Tobacco Association was just formed. The CRA is already about 1.5 years, 2 years old with members throughout the United States, but the New York Tobacco Association is actually our grassroots program that is going to protect our rights. We've hired an attorney, we've hired actually an attorney firm, we hired that are also our lobbyists that are going to be going over to Albany. They're actually there right now as we speak because there's a lot of unbelievable things going on in the state of New York. We're hoping that we get your supports. You've got to join the CRA if there's any opportunity to do so. It's only $35. You don't know where to do it, just call us up. I'll hook you up. You get 2 cigars, a shirt. And the reason why I'm actually taking this time for this type of an advertisement is they are the only group that I know about, especially in the state of New York, that is supporting our rights. One of the things that happened since our last episode is that New York State, blessings of our great mayor down there, Bloomberg, has decided to outlaw all flavored tobacco in New York City. And that passed because we weren't there. Now we formed, and it's already, because of Bloomberg, has already talked to our other buddy, Patterson, the governor, and they're now looking at making the same law throughout the entire state of New York. We've got to fight. You cannot vote for a politician that does not support your right to smoke cigars. It's got to be a primary key in order to do our voting. We got to let these people know. Enough of that. What we'll be talking about today are 2 cigars. One is the Nording, which is a, I rated, well, I won't tell you what I rate, but it's a $6 cigar. And I never heard of it before, and there'll be pleasing results. And again, one of our favorite manufacturers, Rocky Patel, the 1992 cigar, which is a $9 cigar. At this point, what I'd like to do, finishing up this first section, is introduce our special guest. He's the fella and one of our sponsors that we've talked about on each and every show, Rich Anderson, as you can see on the sign right over here, Anderson Photography. He's even done more things than I was aware of, and he's going to go into a little more detail about that, because what we do on the show is not only talk about cigars and different alcoholic beverages, but we want to learn about what our sponsors, what our friends, what our guests, what they do for a living. So we'll be introducing it. Let's introduce right now. Come on in, Rich Anderson. Have a seat on our guest panel seat.
Distinguished guest panel seat. And Rich, John Cowell.
And he's actually going to be drinking during the show the beverage that we actually sponsored this particular week. Have a seat. Which is by Black Bear Winery. It's, don't want to forget your cigar. I'll bring it to you.
Now this is
guests get served.
This is a handsome man here, but I'm cool.
He's
cool
still all
with
right. He's not too taken back. But the drink is by Black Bear Winery. It's called the B&H Apple. It's a type of a wine. Once again, Black Bear Winery does not use any type of grapes. They only use fruits. And what we'll do is we'll get back to that as the next episode come by. That will be the end now of Part 1, Episode 6.